Good morning, YouTube, and today we have part 5 of the Danny Hour. Today he'll be profiling his Metalfoe Zoo.
Yes, this is probably the most meta profile out of all the decks that I have right now.
Or is it Zoo Metal?
Zoo Metal, either one. Either way, it's metal. So let's get into it. So we play 3 of all the regular guys. Pretty standard, don't really have to explain too much. Only 2 Bismugear because it's kind of cloggy. So that's that portion. Not much to explain there. 2 Eccentric Archfiends. I would probably consider playing 3 in the future, just once I get a 3rd one. This basically will essentially count as 2 extra Metalfoes because it works in tandem with the combination. And also, it's just a good card as a whole. It's also a level 3 monster that can help tutor out the MX Saber Invoker, so that's why it's really good. That's it for the Metalfoe portion. Don't need to explain too much about what they all do. Now for my favorite portion of the deck, 3 Balbaboon, thanks to AJ for helping me get my hands on these, and 3 Lonefire Blossom, thanks to our old friend Adam for giving me these really fancy Korean Lonefire Blossoms. So I love Lonefire Blossom to pieces. It's probably one of my favorite cards in the game because I've played plants a little while ago, and just so I can play plants again in Zoo makes me super happy. What the Balbaboon does is whenever it's normal summoned or special summoned, you get to draw a card and then place any card from your hand to the bottom or top of your deck. So it helps unbrick your hand with all of your traps or cards that you don't want to see. And then when it's destroyed, like with one of your Metalfoes, you can summon 2 more and then use its effect again. And then it makes a free rank 3 play. It's super, super good in this deck, and I absolutely love the 6-card plant engine right here. It is amazing. So I love it a lot. My mind was blown whenever I found out that you could use Lonefire Blossom in tandem with the Balbaboon. So that makes me super happy. That's another reason I just love this deck to pieces and why I wanted to play it some more. For the Zoo portion, I only play 2 Zoo. I only play the 2 Rats because that's all I've really ever needed for this. What's it called? The Whiptail. It hasn't really come up that often. You don't really need the Trident to last that long afterwards, and just the one time, or twice if you're going second, is super. That's all the times they ever really need it, and they've all proven to be kind of cloggy. The Rat Pure is all you actually ever need for this deck. We also play the one Black Sheep for the Black Sheep combo. We only play 1 because we're only doing the Black Sheep combo once, and that's all we need for this deck. We're keeping it short and simple, and it's effective. And 1 Rescue Rabbit to kind of reduce our number of normal summons in the deck. Rescue Rabbit's really good. It's a free out to Anti-Spell Fragrance or something, so that's why we like the Rescue Rabbit. And then the 1 Maxi, because it's at 1. So that's it for the monster lineup. It's relatively large relatively large in a 41 card deck, but it's short, simple, it's effective, and it's simple. That's why they make it called a meta decks. For the spells, play a simple spell lineup of 1 Metalfoe's Fusion and 1 full Metalfoe's Fusion. This one doesn't come up too often, but it steals games, and I love it to pieces a lot. 1 Painful Decision and 1 Summoner's Art. I'd probably drop the Summoner's Art for just another Painful Decision because this one doesn't have very many targets as the Painful Decision would. But essentially these 2 are just search cards. They're extra Metalfoes, that's what they're there for. And the fusions are recyclable, plus they are searchable. So that's why we only run like 1 of each. And then the 1 Fusion Substitute for the Black Sheep combo. I was doing the 2 Fusion Substitute combo, but that combo has proven to me to be too long, takes too much brain power, and if you go into a tournament trying to do this combo too often, there are chances it could be messed up, it could be easily stopped, and then your combos are just kind of stuck. While if you run the 1, your combos aren't just stopped as easily, and you can kind of just continue to kind of go off from there. So that's why we only just do the 1. 1's all you need. And then we play 3 Tenki to help us get to our rat. Barrage isn't actually that needed in this deck. We just kind of want to see our Rat Pures. You don't even have to play Tenki in this deck if you really didn't want to be honest. But that's it for the spells. It's simple. And for our traps, we play the 1 combination and double counter. whenever I'm usually going first, I'll usually most likely be setting the counters instead. But this card is really, really good, especially when you have two of them set and you get a card destroyed. You can just use both of them, summon two. It's really, really good. This basically can count as another Metalfoe. I don't often use its fusion effect to summon one from the graveyard, but you don't really need it too often. You just need it to get some Metalfoes off of it. And for the other traps, I do play one Grand Horn, one Strike, one Warning. You could exchange the other Horn for another Strike if you so wished, or you could exchange all these for Day Barriers. Either one would do just as much as success. But either way, I just wanted to stop summons, and that's why I played these 3 traps over anything else. That's it for the main deck. It's 41 cards. There's very few changes that I actually make to it, but it's alright. For the extra deck, we play 2 Mithrils. There's no space for 3. You don't really need 3, because one can just recycle the other, and that's all you really need. 2 Orichalc. Orichalc has actually been proven to be pretty useful in this deck because, you can summon one, and then you can get rid of it for like a Mithrilium, and then this pops a card. This is also really useful against the Necker Valley matchup because Necker Valley is actually a threat because some people are citing Necker Valleys, so this helps get rid of it.
And that piercing is also...
Yeah, the double piercing also helps too. This helps steals games if your opponent has something set, so it's really, really nice. 1 Alcahest. This is really kind of fun to go into because it's basically a better Thousand Eyes Restrict that can also be used to as fusion materials. It's really funny. 1 Adamant. I know some people don't play this, but I think this should be played just because you have a lot of monsters in the deck that are not Metalfoes. So if you're kind of in an awkward situation where you need to fusion summon, this actually comes in really handy and allows you to kind of just take games with this alone. And then 1 Norden, because Norden is super useful in this deck and it's recyclable. You use it with the fusion substitute. It's really cool. It's hilarious. That's it for the fusions. And then for the XYZs, we play 1 Trident, 1 Broadbull. Thank you to AJ for letting me borrow these. 1 Tagmortar, and 1 Borbo. You actually only really go into... What?
Tagmortar.
Tagmortar.
Tagmortar. Yeah, that's okay.
You only really go into these 3. The Tagmortar is there for going second because whenever you end the board with the Trident and 1 material under it, that's all you kind of need for going first. But if you're forced to go second, you'll want to make sure there's another material under there so that you have 1 pop for their turn, and then you have an extra pop for your turn. So that's why you want to make sure that you can actually make 2. So that's why the Tagmortar is even really there. But, we don't really use this effect too often, so it's an extra good just material to kind of have. We play 2 Emeralds because Emerald cycles Emerald. It just allows you to recycle your engine as you need be. Some people only play this at 1. That's fine. I just prefer it at 2. 1 Exhibit Revoker allows the plays to go off. The card is super good. I bought this for $20 years ago, and the investment was totally worth it. And then I am playing 1 Grampulse. You could replace this with Break Sword, but basically this is just there to kind of help pop back row. I can understand why you'd play Break Sword instead, because Break Sword can just destroy everything. This can only destroy back row.
Yeah, but he has a big butt.
Yeah, big butt, and it's also super easy to go into. It outs the anti-spell Fragrance, which is what, in my opinion, is the most valuable part about it. That's why I choose to run that. But that's it for the extra deck. It's 15 cards. That's it for this deck profile. This deck is actually a lot of fun, too. And it's not too expensive as you think. I know the extra deck is kind of pricey, but with a lot of the cards in the extra deck getting reprinted and everything's dropping in price, this deck should be easily acquirable, and it's a lot of fun too. I know it's a meta deck, and not a lot of people like meta decks, but this is a pretty cheap meta deck to actually pick up, surprisingly nowadays. And you don't actually need too much of the Zoo engine to even run it. You do need the Invoker, but Invoker's has gotten reprinted, so thus he's cheaper now, and he's a lot easier to pick up. I know Emeralds are a little bit pricey, but you realistically only need 1. So this deck isn't actually that expensive, and it's actually a lot of fun to play. And if you're looking for something to play at tournaments or a meta deck to kind of pick up, this one you could actually pick up. And it's also probably one of my favorite meta decks to play right now. I'm not too into any of the new meta decks that are coming out. So if I was to play a meta deck, this would probably be the one I'd play. But yeah, this is a lot of fun, and I recommend picking it up if you're looking for something competitive to play with.